Hi everyone, it's Den here. Welcome to the School of Light and my very messy studio, but that's okay because I'm on a roll today. This is an episode of Smith Makes Stuff, and in this box is everything we need to make the first in 3 orb tools that we're going to learn to make, and this is the cheap one. So let's just dive straight into it. We are going to make an orb tool using Christmas lights, because they're cheap, especially in the week after Christmas. I'll tell you why Christmas lights are great for an orb tool. You have the ability with these to turn them off and on. And when you are spinning an orb, you want to get spinning, turn the lights on, turn the lights off, and get out of the frame. Right, so on a ball of light tool, I'll tell you the different things that we have, and we're going to try and replicate them in our Christmas light. Okay, so what we've got here is we have a controller with an on-off button, right? And then we have a cable that takes the power. About halfway down we have a grip, and we use this for holding it when we spin it. And on the end we have a light. I just want to show you how to make cheap stuff and easy stuff. Okay, so what are the things we need? Well, we need a Christmas light with an on-off. Those are like from our local Kmart or whatever. Then we've got these ones here, which are from IKEA. But these are quite cool because you can swap out. So see if I turn that on, there's the light there. So we've got these things here, right? So they're like a green bit of plastic, and then we've got these red ones, and then we've got these things here. Yeah, there's a cool bit of light coming out of there. We're gonna make a little bunch, and I'm gonna pop this green thing on here. I'm gonna pop this yellow one on here. So all I'm looking at is have we got some nice bit of texture and color there. We need to get rid of all these lights down here because we don't need them. They're too heavy. If you make a cut in this wire, one of two things is gonna happen. It's either gonna kill all the light or allow me to make it shorter. All right, here's a bit of cutty. Now, always know that the voltage out of here is outrageously low, so you're not gonna kill yourself. So I'm just gonna cut this. Boom, look at that. So I've cut that, those lights are gone, and these ones are still going. Bonus. I'm gonna pop a cable tie around there. Nice one. So that's bunched together there. So there we go. So if we think about our actual ball of light tool here, this one here, we've got our light and our controller. So think about this as our controller and our light, right? And there's our bit of cable there to spin it. Now the problem is, this cable here, you spin that for anything more than about 2 seconds and it's gonna break. So here's what we need to think about. And you can transfer this idea to any orb tool that you ever make. I've got some cord here. Snip. We just need to seal the end of that. And then what we wanna do, so we need to connect this to here. A little knot in there, just to be sure that it's gonna go through it. And then another cable tie, go through there like that. So there you go. So I have got the the string there with a bit of cable tie going around the lights there. Nice one. Now, that bit of string there is holding those lights. Now let's think about the length of the bit of string. If you put the tool to the floor, but if you're a beginner, don't go all the way to the floor. You just go a little bit above the floor. So basically the length of it is from your hip, and you'll see when we start spinning. The hip, just above the floor, right? Make a note of where that is. So I reckon just put a little knot in there. And then what we want to do, just to keep things really tidy, is we want to use some more cable ties. We love cable ties and duct tape. Duct tape and cable ties. Because we don't want any tension at all to be on the cable, right? So we're just going up, we're just making it tidy. If you haven't watched the refurb video of me remaking the ball of light tool, it is absolutely gorgeous to watch. All right, so look, I'm not going to get too fussy because you get the idea, right? All right, so here's where we're going to be spinning from. Look at that. So all the tension on there, all the tension is going to be on that bit of string there, and it doesn't pull the electrical cable tie. You want something to grip onto. The ball of light tool has this nice soft grip here going onto a fishing swivel, onto a custom made grip that goes onto the cable. Very fancy thing that we're not going to try and replicate. When you're spinning, You definitely don't want to just be holding onto the cable because it gets hard on your fingers and stuff. So we need to think about a way to create a nice comfortable grip and then figure out how to tie it onto here. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so I'll show you what I do have. This is a very, very, very cheap lens bag, but there are these things in Australia called stubby holders, and they're like a wetsuit material. Or you can just use a piece of cloth or a bit of rag. And look at this. So my hand just goes through there like that, right? That's nice and comfy there. This is how I made my very first ever grip. Before I make it mega tight, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna poke it through there, and I'm just gonna bring it down to where that knot is. So I am just gonna make this cable tie real tight. And the reason this is a good idea is that all you got is it's really easy to adjust it, because if you need to make it longer or shorter, you just snip the cable ties off and you move the bit of string up or down there. Hell yeah, that's not going anywhere. So look at that, that's not going nowhere. Here we go, look at that. So there's our grip end, just like the ball of light tool. There's the light end. There's no tension on that cable. It's nice and loose. Wow, that's perfect. It's so good. Oh my gosh, you know what? That's actually more comfy than these ones. All right, boom, there we go. You can do exactly the same with these ones, or any Christmas lights that you can find are perfect for doing this, I promise you. If you chose to just attach these clear ones to it, you can start putting different bits of cellophane or color or liquid chalk on there, but this might have cost all up, I don't know, what, $5? Okay, there you go. Let's turn the studio around and make an orb and see if it works. I like it. All right, I'll see you in a minute. So what I did is I had my light stand here. Now I have a spot in the center of the studio here I use. I've put a coin on the ground, but that allows me to center the cameras because I've got the two cameras, one there and one there, so you can see the process. Then I've focused on the stand and we get rid of that. This is exciting. Now, before I turn all the lights off, I'm going to show you the action. So I'm going to turn it on. So there's my spot on the ground, and you can see how I decided on the length, right? So I've got at my hip, which as you'll see is where I spin, and what I've got is I've shown about the length where I reckon you should have it. I have mine a bit lower, but that's because I'm a bit practiced. And watch this. Look at that. Here's our orb tool. That is so unbelievably cool. All right, so I am looking down, I'm looking at the coin on the ground, and I can see the light going over the top of it. The Ball of Light Masterclass has all of this, by the way. I'm looking down. Wow, this finger thing is so ridiculously comfortable. Reminds me of the old days. Here we go. Right, and then I spin around, and you will hear when we're going, my remote is beeping so that I know when my minute is up. Now the thing to remember, this is so important, you do not want too much weight in this head here. It's a misconception that weight makes it better. It does not. So anyway, that's the action. Let's get this light off. Yeah, so the reason that we want to be able to switch it off and on is this thing I'm about to do. What I do is I find my position, I stand here, there's my coin on the ground, I turn this off, and then what I'm doing is with my trigger, I'm starting the exposure. Now you can use a delayed start for the same effect. So that is now open, and what I'm doing is I'm looking down at my point on the ground, and then while when I'm happy that I'm going, I switch it on. I'm looking down, I'm focused on the point on the ground with my eyes, walking backwards around the point. Now again, in the Ball of Light Masterclass, there is really, really amazing instructions on how to do this, but these are so bright, you know what? I don't reckon, I really can't, bloody hell, 5.6, I mean, you might need to dial it down. Now, if we were outside doing a long exposure under the moon or something, we can switch this off when we count to 60 or whatever our length is, and walk out of the frame and let the exposure keep going. Oh, I've sort of lost focus. This might be a bit wonky. And there we go, done. Well, there you go. That looks pretty good actually. Now, it is way, way, way too bright. I thought it might be, but I'm just going to go straight to F9. Because it was a bit overexposed, we lost a whole lot of colour. Now, the reason I have the beep on, I just made a video about that, is that when I'm not talking to you on a video, I'm counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because when I'm doing my normal ones, I'm in there for only 60 to 90 seconds, and then I step out, and I need to know when that's done to walk out of the frame and leave the rest of the exposure going. Oh, that's quite nice actually. Now the colours that are really strong in there, yeah, the yellow, that's no great surprise. Alrighty, there you go. So how is that? So that is Christmas lights on the end of a bit of string with an on-off switch. Take that idea, that principle, and apply it to anything. Nice, comfy, stubby holder, whatever you want to call it. Wetsuit material, a bit of fabric, a bit of t-shirt material, it doesn't matter. On-off switch, and there's your orb tool. Now, I reckon this thing is super robust. There's all sorts of different things you can attach to a bit of string. I hope you enjoyed that. Why do I have so much fun making this stuff? If one of you makes this thing and goes out and creates an orb, that's all I want. It's just for you to go out and have a go and have some fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.